And welcome back for episode 24 now of Dead End Friends. When we last left off, the posse had departed the town of Perry and were heading west to the town called Golden Flats. They had a brief encounter with some natives of the Kiowa tribe who appeared to be tailing them, and they had some not so friendly words for Chenoa.
Look, they've given her an identity crisis, okay? She's been going through it.
They're just coping and seething because they were the baby and Chenoa's owl was the hydrogen bomb.
Their owl was like a World War One biplane of a Chenoa's like
Chenoa's a fucking jet.
Anyway, like at the start of every session, we need some rolls. So spirit and vigor rolls.
And the vigor.
Whew, I nearly failed that, but no, I succeed with an 11.
I got it explode. Even with my -1, I got there.
Emphysema has been held at bay for another session.
Yeah, I don't have to do my best impression of Arthur Morgan.
Yeah. Anyways, so the natives did part ways with you relatively soon after, and they've left you alone. And at this point, it was pretty early in the morning. I believe it was about 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. It was on the second, or I think it was on the second watch. So
It was either on the second or like real early into the third watch. Either way,
Yeah.
Chenoa was taking both watches because she never sleeps.
yes,
And that is coming back to bite you now with that failed roll. I mean, I know that it doesn't actually contribute, but like...
What failed wrong?
Didn't you fail the
no,
spirit roll? Didn't
Nearly.
you just say that?
she nearly flat.
Oh, I thought you said you did. I was like, oh, that's bad. That's like you lose a chip for that, don't you?
She does.
I would if I ever failed it, but Chenoa's good at spirit.
You know.
Why'd you look at me? Just because my spirit die started at D6.
But anyway, we are probably going to skip over the majority of the travel because at this point, it's actually a reasonably straightforward and safe journey.
Episode 34. We are still in the woods.
Alright, so we're gonna skip over how long?
You guys are traveling by horseback, so we're going to skip over it probably a bit over a week, maybe 10 days.
Alright, so, I don't know about everyone else. For Chenoa, she's just fucking going through it at the moment. Like, she spent all of last episode basically just being sad and moping around and following Wilhelm around like a lost puppy. And the reasoning for that is because every time she's tried to help him with something to do with his family, it's turned around and like bitten them in the butt. It hasn't gone well, and she's feeling really bad about that, and she hasn't quite figured out why. And then, like, some of her people showed up to possibly
they weren't your tribe.
I mean, they weren't her tribe, but she's still considered, like, they're her people. Like, she wants so badly to fit in with them, and she can't, and then she can't fit in with anyone else. She just doesn't fit in anywhere. So she's feeling really bad about that now, and they were like, don't be with these guys, but she wants to be with these, and she's just going through it. She's just fucking going through it. They also told her that she should go home to learn some respect, and she can't even do that, because if she does that, she's not doing what the spirits want her to do, and they're gonna torture her for it. So she's just... She was going through it last episode. Last episode was really hard on her.
So is it safe to assume that for the duration of travel, she's being pretty down?
She's kind of like... Not down, like she's not depressed for the whole travel. For the first couple of days, she's been like really quiet, really down. But it's improving at a steady rate. She's still pretty quiet, but she's not like moping anymore. She's figuring it out. She's working through some thoughts in her head about how she feels about things.
Wilhelm doesn't really know how to interact with that at the best of times, so he's going to try and get pretty into his studies.
Yep.
I would like to try attempt some roles to see if I can work out what might be in his books and dedicate some of the travel time to that.
Yep.
A hex I would like to try and learn is Kentucky Windage.
Is it Kentucky Fried Windage?
Why are all the hexes, like all of the spiritual favors, they're just fucking great and useful, and all the hexes have dumb names.
It's because they were invented by apparently Kentucky people.
You're just jealous you don't have a blessing named Deuces Wild.
No, I have the fucking spirit of the bear.
God, I want there to just be a hex that's just like slap them nuts.
If hexes were a modern day, there would be.
Yeah.
This is all like Western slang and shit.
No cap, for real, for real. There's just a hex called the Risiting.
God damn it.
Your persuasion goes up by like 3 dice.
Alright, I need to roll a d20 first. And I'm attempting it with the basic book. I have to get lower than 10. 16. I will now attempt that with the second book. 2. It's in the better book. The better book continues to pay dividends because I keep rolling 2s when I check it. Now I need to roll occult.
Your original book isn't worth the paper it's written on.
No. I need to roll occult and my target number is 13.
I mean, how many chips do you have?
I've got a few chips. I'm sitting on 3 white, 2 red, and a blue for once.
You can make, if you really want this, you can make it happen.
I know I can do that, but then I don't have chips for anything else. If I spend chips trying to learn it, I don't have chips to actually buy it when I finish researching it.
I don't know what you want from me, man.
No, nothing.
Learn a better magic skill.
I think he wants chips. I think that's what he's asking.
I go bust.
Oof.
So I can't learn Kentucky Windage from this book.
What does Kentucky Windage do?
That's a good question.
So Kentucky Windage is
So we stop saying Kentucky Windage.
Kentucky Windage.
The single brain cell.
The old Kinney Winnie is a hex that removes negatives when someone's shooting.
Oh my god.
It reduces the negatives. So if it's a basic success, the negative goes down by 2. So from -8 to -6. If it does really, really well, I can get rid of the whole lot. So you might be in the dark, you might be level 4 wounds, you might have all this shit, but you will be shooting clean as a summer's day. I can't learn it though. I'm gonna say I spent the first day trying to work that one out, especially with the botch.
Okay, so you're not able to pick out learn the spell.
Yep. On the following day, I would like to try and learn another. Sorry, there's just going to be a few rolls like this.
Yeah.
The first one I'm trying to learn is called Penny Ante. On the first one, I rolled a 17, which is a fail. Second book, come through for me, baby. That is a 7, that is a success. And now I need to do the occult roll. Target number 13. It's a good, it's a pretty solid roll.
I mean, you got a 7. Do you want to add?
Yeah. On a 7, I need a 6.
I mean, you either don't learn it or you don't learn it.
Alright, damn it. I'm putting a red chip back in the pod. I got my 6. Penny Ante is in this book.
Can you explain what Penny Ante actually does?
I can. Penny Ante causes the difficulty, the target number of a roll to reduce.
Oh, okay.
Based on what kind of hand you get, I'm guessing?
Yeah, based on the kind of hand I get.
Oh, so it just makes things easier.
The minimum hand reduces the target number of the next action attempted by the target by 2. If the action the target makes doesn't involve an aptitude or trait roll, the hex is wasted. But it makes otherwise very difficult things much easier. So I roll 2d20. This is the number of hours roll.
2 20s.
Might as fucking well have been. So that is an 18 and an 11.
Oh.
It will take me 29 hours.
Okay, so that's a fair chunk
That's
of
bad.
time.
That's just bad.
That is a huge chunk of time, but that's fine. I will suck it up.
Excellent. Anything else that people want to do whilst they're travelling?
There is something Chenoa's going to do. I've thought about it. And she's not going to talk to you guys about this.
Oh, that's always a good place to start.
Yeah, that's
Whenever anyone is like, I'm going to do something and I'm not going to tell anyone about it, it's always great.
Okay, so like I said, she's been struggling. This is probably like 5 days into traveling. So she's had enough time to think about things, and she's been like racking her brain because, again, she feels really bad about trying to help Wilhelm with the whole Morgan issue and not being able to help Wilhelm, not being able to help Morgan, and she's been kind of obsessing over it a little bit. And she's figured out when she originally went to go talk to Reeves in the spirit world, he said he was going to keep working on things even though he was dead. She's going to go visit Reeves and let him know what she found out about Pantheon and about Morgan.
Yeah?
Because at this point it's been like over a week since she's spoken to him. So if he's done anything, it helps her follow up on that.
Yeah, you would definitely be able to contact Reeves.
I'm more than happy to do it as if she went on a vision quest and spend the chip to find him.
Yeah.
So yeah, she'll spend the blue. I don't want to spend my only.
You don't have to.
I need to talk to Reeves. She needs to be helpful. This is all part of her healing process. So goodbye, blue chip. So she'll assumedly have the time to do all the stuff she needs to do to be able to go see him and talk to him.
Yeah. You are able to fill in Reeves on the situation with what you found when you tried to visit Morgan. He will relay to you that he's very limited in what he can do, because the further deeper he digs, the more attention he's getting. And he's in not so much fear, but constantly under duress, because the deeper he goes, it's where he needs to go, but he's at risk of being either enslaved by a Manitou or dragged to the Deadlands.
Yeah, so the deeper he goes, you mean like the lower down the tree he goes. Yeah. Chenoa is very much going to suggest that he doesn't go to see Morgan because of where she is and how dangerous that would be for him. What has he been able to find out?
Not a lot yet.
Hopefully the news about Pantheon and the pillars and stuff will help.
Yeah.
Like, he's also got agency training, so even when he was alive, would he have known anything about, like, you know, the other Watalis that are chained up to the pillars in spirit form? Would he have potentially had information on things like, you know, because she mentions the chains and how they're in a way seeming to tether, how they're seeming to tether Morgan to Pantheon. Would he know anything about those sorts of deals and potentially breaking them?
No, he doesn't think it's any like sort of particular like deal that's been made. He was never really. He's not like in a way, he's very similar to Graves, where he was more of an investigatory, shooty kind of agent rather than a more spiritually and knowledgeable agent, if that makes sense.
How did him and Morgan get separated?
You will learn that he departed the bride with Morgan because Morgan could essentially act like a radar, where she could tell where the hunting grounds and the real world were becoming thinner, which implies that before Morgan was in that situation, someone else was in that situation, but they never found any evidence of that. So he suspects that perhaps somebody was voluntarily acting in such a manner.
Okay.
Which also implies that there is a way to safely remove someone from such a state.
But he doesn't know about how.
He doesn't know about how, because he never actually saw it. He found no evidence of this. This is just his hunch he's working off.
Yeah, this is the leads that he was following.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that gives us something to work off.
So, like, agency members are trained to recognize when the hunting ground starts to affect the real world. They're trained to recognize that sort of thing.
Is there any other useful information he's able to give her? Has he ever heard of Pantheon before?
He knows, like, what a pantheon is. It's, you know, a group of gods associated with a particular mythology.
Chenoa looks at him like he's speaking a different language, but that's okay. So she'll come back from that, and that's probably she probably will follow up this conversation later. Like, she'll follow up with Graves, basically being like, "Hey, I went to talk to Reeves, and this is what I talked to him about. This is what he knows, and this is, you know." But we don't really know a lot yet. She'll also, probably after a day or so, talk to Wilhelm, depending on how's Wilhelm...
Temperament?
Yeah, how's he doing?
When in the trip is this?
Like day 6 or 7?
He's feeling really good. He's chipper. This is like coming into the proper... He hasn't succeeded in learning Penny Ante yet, but he's...
Getting close.
He's getting close. He's like, I'm getting it.
Chenoa's not going to talk to you about it yet. She doesn't want to ruin your good mood.
It's fair.
Sorry.
It's fair. Wilhelm does, like... Each day, Wilhelm is obviously checking in with people, basically, like, seeing how things are going. So, she's not going to just volunteer it if he's like...
He's in a good mood. She doesn't want to make him miserable. She's done that enough.
Oh dear.
She'll talk to you about it eventually, don't worry.
Cool.
Anyway, what's everyone else doing?
So there is something I would like to do in the woods. Is I want to speak to Irving.
Yep, you're not exactly in the woods, but
You know what I mean.
down in the plains,
The
yeah.
metaphorical woods. Yeah, he's gonna bother Irving and ask him if he's willing to come with me and give me a hand with securing the perimeter.
Oh, yes, by all means, Mr. Graves.
Yeah, once we're like, suitably far away from the group, he's gonna ask Irving what I don't know if we've asked him this before, but ask him why, what started him on this journey of trying to research the occult.
He found out about it and he thinks everyone has a right to know.
Yeah, but how did you find out about it? What happened? What happened to you that gave you an insight that these things are even real?
Well, it's not really that impressive of a story, I can assure you. I had a friend of mine who was attacked by something that he couldn't really describe, and I was interested, of course. Took some notes, and I kind of ended up interviewing a few more people who had encountered things out west, and that kind of got me interested into it.
Where would you say that you're... I assume you've been to lots of different places. Some have been more active than others with this sort of stuff. Have you noticed any correlation between how active things are and the environment that you find them in?
Generally speaking, from what I've noticed, the further west you go, the more dangerous.
That is true. At least in my experience. I'd like to let you in on a little secret.
He gets a little bit of a smile, and he pulls out his notepad.
There is a correlation between these sorts of supernatural events and the surroundings that they're in. And it has nothing to do with the fact it's east or west. The reason that it happens is the more people are afraid, the more common these things become.
That's really interesting. How do you know that?
From some experience, I have colleagues that follow these things professionally, I suppose. And we have been for quite some time now. The more afraid, the more scared people are, the more that they know, the more dangerous their environments become. Not just in that monsters stalk the woods, but the very land itself seems to turn against you.
This is good news.
I'm afraid I don't agree. How so?
Well, ignorance is the disciple of fear. If we can remove ignorance, the more we can understand whatever this thing is. And when you understand something, you don't need to fear it. Not out of, we fear a mountain lion, but we understand a mountain lion.
I think you'll find that a great many people's fear of mountain lions is juxtaposed by them knowing plenty about them. I'm more afraid of a gun than I am of any mountain lion.
Yeah, but a mountain lion, for example, it's predictable. It's a predator. You can study its nature. Whatever these things are, they can be studied, they can be understood.
I don't think they can be, boy. They're not like an animal that you find in nature. Their very existence is dependent on a flight of fancy more than it is any logic or reason. You can't document a creature like that, and trust me, we have tried.
Maybe we can't specifically document it, but we can at least make people aware of what's going on so people can protect themselves better.
No matter how well documented it is, you can't bring a man to look a creature with no skin in the eyes and not be afraid.
Again, to the mountain lion analogy, if I wander into the presence of a mountain lion, I'm going to be scared. But if I understand that I'm in front of a mountain lion, it's a whole lot less unknown than whatever is going on out west.
You and I both know there's nothing that we can do to banish the unknown. And as long as the unknown exists, if people are aware that it's out there, they'll fear it. I promise you that me and my colleagues have spent a lot more time than you have on this subject, and we've tried very hard to banish the fear that haunts people to this day. It is not merely a fear of it happening that affects the strength of these creatures, but it is the happening itself that makes them stronger.
So what you're saying is keeping people in ignorance has been a losing strategy.
No, what I'm saying is the more people know, the more they dabble, and the more dangerous they become. There are a great many more people that know than I think you're aware, and the territories that they inhabit have only become worse because of it.
Can you give an example of such a territory?
There exists at the moment a group of individuals who claim themselves to be servants of the Lord, but they wield powers of Manitou.
You're talking about huckstering?
Yes, among other things. Huckstering is, of course, a sinister magic in a lot of its functions, but there are darker spells that can be cast if a man was willing to stoop low enough. And these people are in great number, and they're well aware of it. And they're not intrinsically afraid. And because they know of this power, they're more susceptible to it. Ignorance, unfortunately, is a shield that cannot be cast aside by the majority of people.
Ignorance is not a shield, it's a blindfold.
I'm afraid in this instance it is both. If they cannot see the horrors before them, and trust me, the horrors are numerous, and I fear endless, then there will be no gun or bullet that can stop them. In fact, there are a great many monsters that already cannot be stopped by guns and bullets.
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree, Mr. Graves, that ignorance is the best course of action.
That's fair enough. Then I would like to offer you an opportunity, a job, if you will. A permanent job. Not this errand that we're wanting, but a serious one.
Okay, what's that?
You intend to release these findings to the public,
Correct.
and I've made my stance that that is not a good idea.
Yep, I've heard you out.
That is fair. Then I am going to have to offer you a job at the agency that I work for. We're a group of individuals that prevent these monster attacks, hunt them, kill them, best of our ability, and kill those that dabble in their powers and wield them for their own fiendish ends.
I mean, I can handle myself in a fight, but I'm no gunslinger.
We're not gunslingers, we're investigators, researchers too. We even have our own institution, a place where we can study these things and prepare ourselves to fight them.
Okay.
It's quite a well-established institution, and we've been around for quite a while now.
Where are they based?
That depends. Would you be willing to accept an opportunity to work at that institution?
I'll be willing to consider it.
I'm afraid that there is no considering. It is either a yes or a no. It's not a job offer you can table.
I mean, an offer with no option to refuse isn't an offer.
What I mean by that is, I think that you've done good work, and I respect the work that you do. But it behooves me to tell you that if you attempt to release this information, you won't find merely the disagreements from me, but I'm afraid that you'll find any releasing of information to be quite difficult and quite hazardous to your health.
Fox gone.
No, he doesn't make an effort. He's not doing anything physically threatening. He's not even. I'm not even trying to intimidate him. He's just being really frank that this is like, it's not a good idea. You obviously have never heard of my institution, and we've made great efforts into making sure that no one's heard of us. But every single one of us are under the same order.
You can definitely tell he's looking a bit more tense now. He's looking a little bit intimidated already, because he's kind of reading between the lines.
There are a lot of lines, and there is lots to read between them. I think that you have done good work, and I want you to continue that work. And I respect your faith in the rest of this country. But I promise you, from the horrors I've seen, that knowing does not protect you in any way.
Alright. I'll,
Can I do a fucking...
I accept.
Can I do a scrutinize?
You can.
I'm gonna read this fucker like a book.
Did you botch?
No, but I got a 4, a 4, a 1, and a 2 on 4 12-sided dice. Fucking, we're not doing that. All right, so you can spend a white chip, which allows you to re-roll the dice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's another 2. This is garbage. This is a crime. Okay, that's good. Now, I'm going to spend a red to
Give me
roll
that
another
red.
d12.
Yep.
We need to stop spending reds. He's cashed in and gotten 2 blues from it so far.
It's bad, but I need to know if this man is bullshitting me, because if he is, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's a 16. That's a pretty good result.
16.
Graves, you're pretty damn excellent at reading people, especially in situations like this. You can tell that this guy is genuinely, like, afraid of you, but you think he's lying, and you think he is deliberately, like, he's afraid, but he's deliberately making himself seem more afraid to try and disguise the fact that you think he's just agreeing with you to get you off his case.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure because you're not a mind reader, but
I'm as close as you can be to a mind reader.
yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. There might be mind readers out there.
Probably.
Alright, so Graves is gonna, like, he's gonna look at him for a second, and he's gonna, like, reach into his jacket pocket and, like, pull out into, like, his little tobacco pouch and, like, roll
When
a
you
cigarette.
reach for your jacket pocket, he, like, flinches.
Graves just real slow, like, he's got his pistols, he's got his shotguns on his hips.
Yeah.
He's not reaching for those. And he pulls out his thing. He, like, rolls a cigarette. He's gonna, like, light it on the, like, heel of his boot or whatever. Yeah, and then he's just gonna, like, take a really slow, like, take a slow drag, and he's gonna, like, offer him the cigarette.
He, like, accepts, and he grabs, well, he takes the cigarette between his 2 fingers. You can tell that, like, they're shivery.
Yeah. All right. Then with your acceptance, I'm obliged to tell you, under the orders of William S. Grant, Executive Order 375, that any attempt to reveal the supernatural to the general public is a crime punishable by treason. My name is Victor Graves, and I work for the United States government in service of our president, William S. Grant. And it's my job to make sure that these events do not fall to the general public, and I have every authority of every agency that exists within the United States to uphold that law and the rules of Executive Order 375. You can read it here. And he pulls out like a little business card with the executive order on it, and he hands it to him.
Yeah, he reads it. You can tell he's a quick reader.
Yeah.
And he, like, hands it back.
Now, I realize that a strange individual in the woods saying he works for a secret organization telling you not to release the findings of your book is not a very compelling argument. Let me tell you, as a servant of the United States of America, that if you release that information, you will be arrested, and you will never see the sun again. Now, I want you to rethink the severity of this situation and the sincerity of your answer. It is my job to read people, Mr. Irving, and I can read you like a book.
Yeah, you can tell he's definitely a lot more scared than he was a few moments ago.
It's legitimate fear now.
Yeah. And you can tell, and he, like, there's a bit of a tremble in his voice, and he says, I understand, Mr. Graves.
Mr. Irving, I like you. You're a good kid. We have mutually beneficial goals, but I promise you, and I mean this in the best of my heart, that we try our very best to protect the good people of this country, and you will make it harder. Not just for us, but for them too. That's still bad. In fact, that's a botch. I'm gonna re-roll one of those. I mean, that was a 7, but that's still bad. I'm gonna burn a red. I'm so sorry. A 7 plus 10, 17. That's much better. I should have gotten literally any edge that benefits my ability to scrutinize. Literally just one.
Okay.
To be fair, I bought a lot of edges.
So you can tell genuine fear is harder to fake. And this, yeah, Mr. Irvin is genuinely afraid, and he seems to be telling the truth now, to the best of your ability. He simply says, would that be all, Mr. Graves? I think we've been going for a little while now.
Of course. Like, Graves gives him the whole speech. Graves looks like, after he's like, is that all? Like, Graves looks really tired. He looks like he's just like, he like loses a lot of his like bluster, and he's just like, all right, come on, let's sit down. Like it looks like he's really unhappy with the way this went. He's not like being like, I'm gonna fucking hurt you. He's like, just fucking back down, kid.
Do the right thing.
On your way back to camp, you get to draw from the fate pot. Because you have, in a way, to the best of your ability, upheld your oath.
This was not a profitable endeavor in terms of fate chips.
So you've upheld your oath for now.
For now.
Also, you've gifted me a fat stack of chips. I'm like, I better give one back.
How many are you sitting on now?
I'm on 10.
I went from 9 chips to 5. I'm very unhappy. But it had to be done.
It did.
It had to be done.
I mean, you may have just saved Irving's life.
Yeah.
So the rest of that night will pass without incident. Leopold Irving isn't acting sus at all, and he's doing Graves a favour of not appearing particularly rattled in any way, shape or form with the others. And he's deliberately making an effort not to appear distant from Graves.
All right. Well, that's nice.
Well, they're about to become colleagues by force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being conscripted, boy.
I have a question. The study each day while we're traveling, is it fair to say 4 hours, or would you more accurately say something like 3 or 2?
It'll be really hard to concentrate while riding.
Oh no, not while riding. When we before we set off, like maybe 20 minutes.
You probably have maybe 3 hours of decent study per day.
Yep, cool.
Bear in mind you will be tired riding all day.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair and reasonable. So Wilhelm had 8 days left of travel. At 3 hours a day, that's 24 hours of study into the spell.
Yep.
He's got another 5 hours left to go by the time we finish traveling.
Coming up early on the Sunday morning of your 10th day of travel, you see the town in the distance. You do see a sign at the front of it saying Golden Flats. No mountain anywhere like in your dream though.
Chenoa was kind of already working on the theory that the mountain in her dream was more of like a metaphor for the thing that her vision told her about, which was like the spirit who once walked on the earth will return and sit atop the mountain.
Yeah.
So she already thinks that's a metaphor for it.
Yeah.
Symbolism.
Yeah, symbolism and shit. She's not surprised there's no mountains here.
You notice as you guys approach that there is barely any movement inside the town. There's a few people milling about, but yeah, hardly anyone is around.
Graves makes a point of loading slugs into his shotguns just in case.
I made a bit of a mistake. I've only done 21 hours so far if we're arriving on the 10th day.
Yeah.
So Wilhelm's in good spirits. He's like, yeah, I haven't been to this, like, hasn't been here before. He's going to... he has been making an effort to talk to our new friend as well. Irving, thank you.
All right. Mr. Irving, I think be careful. Keep your eyes open. I don't like this.
You guys will just know. This is what you know. It's Sunday morning. The reason why the town is looking so deserted.
They're in church.
They're in church.
They're a mass. Okay, yeah.
There are a few people milling about, but
Heathens.
they're presumably busy.
Do we know what do we know anything about the Watali that lived here?
We know his name was Pod Watali, but before we get to that, Chenoa's gonna have that brain blast of being like, oh, they're in church. Is the church easily visible?
Yeah, so the church would be the largest building in the town.
Cool. Chenoa's gonna look at you guys and be like, I think I'm going to church for the first time in a long time.
I think that's a good idea.
So the thing is, Chenoa wants to go to the church because she saw a freaking priest in the vision that Reeves showed her. She wants to go see if he's at the church. Very specifically, she's gonna start moving her horse in that direction. And very specifically, if Wilhelm starts going, she's gonna look back at Wilhelm and be like, not you.
Well, Wilhelm looks suitably called out. Darling, why?
Because if my theory is correct, it's probably better that the majority of the town don't see a Watali.
Wilhelm looks like he's thinking pretty hard about something, and he's gonna be like, alright.
I mean, with all due respect, not everyone knows what a Watali looks like.
Not everyone does, but I have information that you don't.
You just hate this guy. You've just decided that Leopold... Fuck, you're on the Leopold train. Fuck, kill him, Graves. Kill him. Kill him in the woods.
Chenoa hasn't been saying that. I have. I don't mean to be rude about it, Mr. Irvin, but you seem to think you know a lot more than I think you actually do, and I'm not going to take risks with Wilhelm's life.
I mean, Wilhelm's his own man. He can do what he likes.
Now, this is the fun moment, because it's essentially the decision for Wilhelm between whether he upsets Chenoa or has Irving thinking he's whipped.
Tough
This
decision.
is where you choose your route in the visual novel. Do you want to go with the Chenoa or the
Just say your decision now affects your entire build.
Yeah, do you want +1 to magical research or +1 to spiritual research?
And there's no respec option.
Yeah.
Irving or Chenoa will remember this, and it auto-saves after it.
Yeah.
The
You
worst.
also can't go back to previous save files, nothing.
Yeah, this is a Capcom game. There's only one save. Once you finish the game deletes and you can't reinstall it.
Fortunately, Wilhelm's going to take option C, and he's going to turn to Graves. Graves, would you mind accompanying Chenoa to the church? Just keep an eye on her. Or
Yeah, I was gonna do that anyway.
I appreciate that, sir. Sorry, darling.
I think this is actually his way of choosing Chenoa. That's what I choose to believe.
Yeah, it sounds like a roundabout way of choosing Chenoa's way.
Look. With all due respect, we're in a random new town. He hasn't obviously had any kind of chance to determine how
burn the witch they are.
Yeah, burn the witch, but also how
we don't know how accepting this town is of
Yeah.
strangers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Look, it's a risk.
Yeah.
It is a risk, and it's the thing he's worried about.
That's very sweet of him.
It's fair. So yeah, he's gonna to Irving then. Wilhelm's gonna be like, we can work out what to do about accommodation if that seems agreeable, Irving.
I suppose.
Or were you hoping to go to the church as well?
No, we can sort out accommodation. Graves, you get the sense that he just doesn't want to go with you.
Let's split the party.
You're the one. Yeah.
I know. I know.
Cool.
That's why I'm singing a song about it.
Yeah. No. Fair enough.
Graves is going to scribble something in his notebook, like he's like making a note, like, oh, I've arrived in town. But he also, in his like, rolls himself a cigarette.
You can't smoke in church, Graves.
I'm not going to smoke in the church. I'm going to smoke on the way to church, and then I'll smoke after church, like a good boy. I'm trying to do something covert without Leopold noticing. I'm basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like slip Wilhelm a note that's basically like, keep an eye on Leopold, don't let him out of your sight. I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. He's probably gonna like,
Maybe just something like, because Wilhelm has been obviously suspicious of Irving.
yeah,
If you just say something like "eyes open, Wilhelm," you don't know what to expect here.
yeah, maybe something like that.
I mean, it's also as easy as being like, well, if you're organising boarding, take my bag, and handing it to him with your bag.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, he'll pick up his bag and he'll be like, yeah, take my bag, and then he'll like subtly pass you just a little note that's just like Irving, just his name, and then out loud Graves will be like, keep your eyes open, like you don't know what's going on around here. God, we're so clever. The brain trust at God.
Our one shared brain cell working real hard.
If we were like a psychic web of people, we'd be at least as powerful as one human being.
If we were a hive mind, we're as powerful as,
Just a normal person.
a high schooler.
We'd be as powerful as half a person or 3 lines of code.
So, Chenoa and Graves, you guys, wander into the town. At this point, the few people that you saw milling about are already making their way towards the church, and you you finally see where all the people are. There's a large gathering of people outside the front doors of the church. The church doors are closed at the moment, however.
Is that weird?
I mean, what time of morning is it, and what time does service start?
I legit just have no idea. I've never been to mass in my life.
Okay, so from what I know of it, it might be different in the time period, but common day churches do a couple of different times. So like a lot of places will do like a 7 a.m. mass, but they'll also do like a noon.
Yeah, this is an early one. This is like 7 a.m. because you guys arrived early.
Yeah, so it's just as easy as Chenoa's just gonna... And the thing is, when Chenoa lived with her grandmother in Louisiana, church was a regular thing. So this might be a little bit different for her, but she's still just gonna like find the nearest hitching post, because there'll be hitching posts all over the fucking place, especially in front of like a building like a church. She's gonna like hitch her horse, and then she's just going to approach the nearest person, probably a gentleman, because, you know, they're more agreeable to her normally.
Yep.
And she's just gonna be like, "Excuse me, sir, how long until mass starts?"
Oh, any moment now. Any moment.
Alright, you're from around here, I presume?
Yes, and you're some kind of traveller?
Just passing through, but gotta get the Sunday morning blessings.
I understand completely.
Graves is gonna put his horse next to Chenoa's, but he doesn't hitch it. He just looks his horse, Detective Grimm, in the eyes, and he's just like points down at the ground, and Grimm just like nods his head, like the good boy that he is. And then he'll like walk up by it. He just like nods at anyone that acknowledges him, and just doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
He'd be a priest, not a pastor, right?
I think pastor is what they typically are called in America now, because if you're like Pastor X, Pastor Y. But I don't know. Pastor Sauce?
Pastor Nocky.
Both of us. God, fuck. So,
That brain cell is getting stretched so thin.
I'm so glad the Catholic Church can't sue me. We'd be done, man.
Most Christian denominations have reverends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
There we go, done.
Yeah, no, Chenoa's gonna continue our conversation with this guy and basically be like, is the Reverend in town quite good, would you say?
Oh, yes. Reverend Owen, he's excellent.
So yeah, Chenoa's just gonna be making small talk with this guy, like, just, you know, has the pastor been, like, is he a long time pastor?
Yes, he's been here for many, many years. He has really come into his own in about the last year.
What do you mean by that, sir?
I mean, before, church attendance was middling at best, but now...
I mean, everyone's here.
Yeah.
He must be, very motivational.
Motivational is a word, and he encourages free thought.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you'll see for yourself any moment now.
I'm quite eager for it.
While they're having this conversation, Graves is just like scanning the crowd looking for green eyes. He's just like...
No Wataili eyes present.
Damn it. What's wrong?
That you're aware.
Also, I'm so sorry for keeping Wilhelm away from this, but like, I'm so worried that this guy's gonna come out and he'd be like, "Green-eyed devil," and fucking try to kill you, like sick the town on you.
I can't Resident Evil 4 an entire village. Alright,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Sure enough, the doors will open up, and you see what looks like some kind of like church attendant, like a deacon or something like that. And he's like, please, come all, take a seat. And people begin just milling into the church.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Will there be enough seating for everyone?
There
Or is
are
there
not.
standing room?
Some there is standing room as well. But there are a lot of seats where the majority of people are allowed to sit down. But generally speaking, the only ones left standing are men who give up their seats for women and the elderly.
Graves is going to be one of those loners that stands at the back of the church.
Where will Chenoa be able to get a seat?
Pretty much anywhere she wants.
Because a man will stand up because you've got the purdy.
Also, because she's a woman. She doesn't want to be in the front. She wants to be on an aisle seat so
Yep.
that she can see a bit better. Probably like middle to back.
Yeah.
Somewhere where Graves can keep an eye on her, for sure.
He is going to be trying to stand reasonably close to it.
Sure enough, after about 5 minutes of idle chatter, there is a priest that will appear from one of the side rooms up at the front of the congregation. And people, without even being directed to, will quieten down. And there is like almost uncomfortable silence comes across the entirety of the church. You hear one person do a little cough and that's it.
I'm calling it right now. This dude is a follower of the bad religion in Utah. I'm calling it right now. And Graves actually knows about that. So he's 100% like, oh no.
He knows what to look out for it at least.
Yeah. I read the book. Alright?
Finally.
Well, yeah, sorry.
So this man, he stands in front of... They have like a lectern.
Yeah,
They'd have a lectern.
Yeah, he stands in front of that. And can I get search rolls from both of you?
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
Oh, that's a 22.
Jesus. Alright, calm down.
What did Graves roll?
I rolled an 11.
Okay. Both of you noticed this. You noticed this when you came in, not now that you're sitting down or standing still. There's no, like, Bible or any sort of book on top of the lectern.
It's always a good sign. Mm-hmm. You know, in a world of dark magic, a priest not having a Bible.
Well, specifically, probably we walked in and they're like, okay, there's no Bible there. And a lot of priests will carry it with them.
Yeah.
But if he walks out without one, that's where it starts getting really suspicious.
Yeah, he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Graves just like, oh no, I'm in a fucking cult.
Sure enough, the priest that does appear is the same one that appeared in your vision.
Thought so.
What does he do in your vision again?
He was standing in front of the mountain, in front of a pile of burning books, and he threw the Bible into it.
Oh, good. Good. Sounds like a good egg.
But sure enough, he begins to speak. My cherished congregation, as we gather in the warmth of this sacred space, let us reflect upon the wonders of creation and the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. For too long we have confined ourselves to the narrow corridors of traditional belief. But today, I urge you to open your hearts to a broader, more encompassing truth. And he does a little pause, scans the crowd. Can I get search rolls from both of you?
Come on, dice. No. Maybe. I got a 6.
I got a fat 9.
Graves, you're pretty sure when he scanned the crowd, he stopped on Chenoa just for a moment and then kept going.
He stops on Chenoa, he just stop on me.
No.
Cool. Good.
I mean, you're not native.
No, I know.
He might... Sorry, very specifically, you're not native and wearing a low-cut saloon girl dress.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was worried that he was he's looking for members of the agency. Because if this guy's fucking around with dark magic.
Yeah, you're not dressed for church at all. Like, you...
Well, to be fair, so she has a shawl, like a kind of like a blanket, like a smaller blanket that she wears wrapped around her waist normally with this outfit. She has put that up over her shoulders as more of like a...
That's more of a modest look.
She's churched it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's very much like in a place that's like really religious like this, where they're going, they'd probably wear their Sunday bests.
Yeah.
Chenoa's not wearing a Sunday best, but she has like, you know, churched it up just a little bit.
So he continues. In the ancient lore of our ancestors, there is a wisdom that transcends the boundaries of time and culture. It speaks of gods and goddesses, spirits of the land, and the interconnectedness of all of the things. This wisdom is not confined to any one faith, but it flows through the tapestry of existence itself. How can these things exist at the same time as our Lord does? I posit this to you, my flock. These things are of the Lord. Why would the Lord allow such things to exist in the first place? And he puts a long pause and he scans the crowd again. Can I get another search roll?
I get another 9.
I also get 9.
Big 9 energy.
You notice he does another quick scan and does, like, briefly stop on Chenoa again. You both notice this.
This is Chenoa's first time noticing this.
Calm down, you dirty old pervert.
Jeez.
she you know what? She kind of she's a little bit like, okay, he really like he mentioned spirits and then stopped on her. But she's like, she just bows her head a little bit as if she's like listening and praying and along, but then keeps her eyes on him.
Can I get both of you? This is like it would be like an academia religion.
Can I do an occult?
I'll allow occult.
Oh, you will allow an occult. Okay. Because we both have occult.
Yeah, I don't have religion. I'm not a fucking theological scholar.
You know what, though? She did go to church a lot. She should have some religion. I'll remember to put that in later.
Oh.
And explode.
Nope.
Only a 9.
Only a 4 from Graves.
Both of you are pretty well aware that what this guy's spewing is pretty damn heretical in the eyes of any church.
Yeah.
This guy's basically saying that all cultures' deities, are of the Lord.
Yeah.
Which is not. That's. Thank you. Very unpopular.
That would be a very unpopular opinion.
Yeah, that's not. That is abnormal for Christian theology.
That is downright heresy. Yeah. He continues. Today, I invite you to explore the depths of your own spirituality, to question, to seek, and to embrace the eternal wisdom that flows through the veins of existence. Let us honor the ancient deities not as separate beings to be worshipped or to be destroyed in their idols, but as manifestations of the sacred within and without. In our worship, let us find joy, peace, and fulfillment. Let us celebrate the beauty of diversity and the richness of the human experience. And let us remember that ultimately, it is love that binds us together. Love that transcends all boundaries and unites us with the divine. Now, I believe we have some songs. And he takes a step back from the lectern. There is a round of applause for him. And
Chenoa politely claps along.
a choir starts coming out from the sides. Sure enough, they start singing actual, proper Christian songs.
Chenoa knows them.
There's nothing heretical about these songs. They are literally what you find in every church around the country.
Yes.
Wow.
And Chenoa can sing along.
Yes. Does Graves sing along? No.
Graves, the one man, the silent among them.
Yeah.
Graves, could you roll me a vigor roll?
To stop myself from coughing.
Yeah,
No, because they're going to be doing something.
they are doing something. That's correct.
It's like it's more of a chant.
3.
Cool. Yeah, you start having it comes on in an instant, basically halfway through the song.
Okay.
And you start having a violent coughing fit. To the point, it's worst you've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Probably the worst you've had since, you went to the cave.
Graves is gonna he's gonna try really hard to look at whoever's standing next to him and try and say sorry through the coughing, and then he's gonna excuse himself.
Yeah. There is one guy who genuinely looks concerned, and he, opens the door for you.
Well, that's very nice of them.
And,
I'm gonna feel real bad when you try and kill me later.
Can Chenoa do some sort of spirit roll or something to know that, to tell if a ritual or something similar is going on? Can she feel for the spirits?
In a place like this, probably not. But Chenoa, your back was facing Graves. Can you roll me a search roll?
But she
And
should hear him coughing, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Over the singing.
Over the
yeah,
singing
fair.
of the entire congregation and the choir.
With a 4?
Not with a 4. And you are completely unaware that Graves has left the building.
This is
And
unironic.
this is how she dies.
Yeah, this guy is doing spirit magic. I bet he's doing faith stuff.
It's definitely, but that still interacts with the hunting grounds.
It does.
That's why I was hoping that maybe she could tell something's going on with the spirits.
The songs continue, and after the song concludes, rather than come back out, a deacon comes out, and this one is actually holding a Bible, and he rather almost uninspiringly reads scripture, and you can tell he just has a very monotone, bland delivery, and you don't even need to roll this. You can tell the congregation is kind of bored.
They've checked out.
Yeah, and then It's broken up by more singing, which kind of gets the energy flowing again, followed by more bland scripture.
It's regular church at this point for her.
Yeah, but it's made all the more droning just by the delivery of the deacon preaching.
Yeah.
It's very monotonous, bland.
One might even say deliberately so.
Yeah, it would actually be like tough to listen to, whereas a regular preacher would be trying to emote and do public speaking to get
Like he
people
was at the start.
interested.
Yeah.
And he doesn't make another appearance for the duration of the service.
So when the service finishes...
Yeah, it's been going on for a bit over an hour.
Yeah.
Graves, your coughing fit would have subsided once the song finished and you're able to re-enter.
Yep.
You feel it come on again when they start singing the next songs, but it's never as bad as it was. And you are able to kind of stop anything.
You're able to stifle your coughs for the rest of it.
Yeah. But it is incredibly boring, the remainder of the service.
I'm gonna have to kill all these people.
So when the service finishes, there's a couple of different options that Chenoa's considering here. One of them is, confessional, because you normally talk to a priest or something in there.
Yeah.
I don't think the deacons are qualified for that.
Correct.
So it would have to be the priest.
Yeah.
And from what we've seen, he's the only priest,
Yeah.
actual priest here. So that's one way to try and get to talk to him. He hasn't come back out, so, there's no, going up to shake his hand and talk to him like some people would. So in the meantime, people who are, kind of dallying around, especially if she can find the same guy that she was talking to outside.
Yeah, he's long gone.
He's long gone? Nah, so she'll just, the people who, stand around and chatter before leaving, she'll just kind of, politely walk up to them and be like, that was really quite an interesting service.
Oh, yes.
My first one. Yeah, I'm just passing through town at the moment.
You're speaking to what looks like a husband and wife, and there's a couple of other couples actually, be a few couples, and one of the women kind of sniggers and it says clearly in that outfit.
Oof.
Yeah, she just brushes it off a bit and is like, unfortunately the Lord hasn't prepared me for clothing appropriate for church, unfortunately, but of course I wouldn't miss it.
Understandable.
She's trying to really play into people's good sides here. Yeah, she's basically just gonna ask about when the preacher, I don't get to town very often. Perhaps you might know if or when Reverend Owen might do some confessionals.
Well, it's Sunday, so we're doing things like that most of the day.
Is there normally much of a need for talking to him, or?
At the moment there is, and you look over at the confessional booths and there is a long line.
Is he doing the confessionals or is it someone else?
You
No,
can't
he
see him.
has.
You can't see him because it's presumably in the booth.
It's supposed to be him.
But we didn't see him enter the booth.
You probably would have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if he is in the...
Yeah.
Deacons aren't allowed. It can't be deacons.
You
It
have to
has
be a qualified.
Yeah.
Fair, but also I thought he might have buggered off and just left some other dude to do it.
Yeah. No, Chenoa's basically just gonna be like, I've actually never been to a service quite like this one. I was talking to someone outside and they said it's been maybe about a year. What was...
I'm sorry, you're asking a lot of questions. Who are you?
When she lived with her grandmother liked to introduce her as Jennifer because that was more appropriate in town. So I'm just deciding whether or not... does that count as a lie if she introduces herself as Jennifer?
Does she identify as a Jennifer?
No, that was a big point of contention with her grandmother. But it was how her grandmother would introduce her at church. It's her church name.
It'll still probably be a lie.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
It's fine, she'll still introduce herself as Chenoa Whitaker. Chenoa just holds out her hand and is like, I'm Chenoa Whitaker, nice to meet you.
She doesn't really want to touch you because she's in her Sunday best and you're being grubby from the road, so clearly that's why.
Yeah.
She's just Josephine Forrester.
Pleasure to meet you.
I bet she's real good at handling wood.
Her husband doesn't agree though.
She never said her husband's would.
No, yeah, she's a forester, not a single tree.
Yeah,
chopper.
she's well acquainted with the forest.
Really, just as much wood as she can get her hands on.
You're an animal.
Sorry.
Sometimes three logs at a time.
We would be perfect at calling people a whore in the 18th century.
Yeah. I wish you had a time machine and you could just destroy everyone with your modern insults.
So Chenoa's just awkwardly takes her unshaken hand back.
Got left hanging.
Yeah. And is just like, what did she say? She was like...
Jane Forrester.
Josephine
Forrester.
I don't really know how Chenoa's going to continue this conversation.
I think the conversation is dead. She killed it and buried it in a forest.
No, Chenoa's just going to be like, sorry if I've upset your day by asking so many questions. I'm quite inquisitive.
Oh, by no means have you upset my day.
I'll be sure to add it to the list of things to confess.
I mean, we all have sin to confess, but being inquisitive is hardly sinful. Reverend Older has been very strong on that opinion.
Because of what he was preaching today, or anything else?
That's basically it. Did you enjoy today's service?
It was very enlightening.
I agree.
Well, you have a lovely day, Mrs. Forrester.
And you too. What was your name again? I've forgotten.
Oof.
Chenoa Whitaker.
Christ.
Yeah, she doesn't even try to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a particularly hard name to pronounce. She will say good day to you, Miss Whitaker.
And she'll just nod and make her way over to Graves, who I assume was close by for that.
He's paying attention, but he's not interacting with anyone here.
I think we're going to call our session there.
We have a lot to discuss about how we move forward with this.
Indeed.
Yeah, this session is a shit show. Not in we did a bad thing, but in we got up 18 times or something. What the fuck? I filled that up 2 days ago. How much water are they Stop! You're getting too much water! You're gonna bankrupt me! Well, I'm just punched him in the gut. There's a curse for you.
You do well.
You botches.
This is just sad.
No. Here's the
I
thing.
know!
You two are the Home Alone burglars.
Oh my god! She's dead.
She has died.
That's the sound of the air leaving her body.
I don't know if it's going to be a fan favourite episode, but it's up there as my favourite already.